live from Washington, or excuse me, Illinois State University's Red Bear Arena. It is IHSA 3A girls state semifinal action between the Washington Panthers, who have not made the state series since 1977, versus the Chicago St. Ignatius Wolfpack, who have not made the state finals at all. This is their first year at it. My name's Michael Savoy. Joined alongside me is Wesley Sambal. And Wesley, we are set up to have a great game. Both teams, I mean, honestly, all the teams here in the state finals are supposed to be here. They're great teams, and this should be nothing different. Two really great teams.
Yeah, Michael, couldn't be more excited for this game. There's so much firepower on both sides. First, when you look at St. Ignatius, they've got Reagan Reardon. She is their best player. She's a 4-year varsity player. She's got more than 750 points this season and more than 1,500 career points, which is a school record for them. They've also got Maggie Helms, a senior committed to Wash U. She has a leading assist figure on this team. Talked about how she's such a facilitator for this team and really is the glue for that offense. And looking at Washington, they've got so many players up and down the lineup we could talk about. I want to highlight Becca McDougall. Speaking of glue players, Kim Barth talked about her specifically as a glue player. She's a big two-way player, can really step it up on the defensive end, and is also a huge part of their offense and a really good three-point shooter for her size. Then Avery Tibbs, she's the team's best ball handler, and a direct quote from Kim Barth, she does a little bit of everything. Last opponent tried to take her away, and she still had 8 points. She's started on the varsity since she was a freshman, just like Becca McDougall. So, we highlighted those players, but you look up and down these lineups, there's great players everywhere.
Yeah, St. Ignatius, one can say that they're very, I guess, they have one really great player in Reagan Reardon. 21.9 points per game. Rebounding, she's almost averaging a double-double of points and rebounds. She's averaging 9.7 rebounds a game and assists, 2.8 assists per game. So she can do it all for them. And you mentioned Maggie Helms. She is a Wash U commit. She is the point guard on this team. She's a big playmaker, and obviously if you're the point guard of a team and you're called the point guard of a team, you got to be able to pass the ball. She's the assist leader of this team, so St. Ignatius, while they do have Reagan Reardon to look out for, she's going to be the star player. She's going to get her points. They also have other players on their team that can step up. You also look at Sally Kennedy for St. Ignatius and other players like Isabella Kieberlin. So they have players that can step up, but it's really going to be on the back of Reagan Reardon. She's had a great year.
Yeah, and you've got great chemistry on the St. Ignatius squad. Kara Doyle talked about it in the interview before the game. They've got 4 players who have been playing basketball together since like 4th or 5th grade. Sally Kennedy, Allie Haymaker, Megan Burke, and Reagan Reardon all went to St. Barnabas grade school. And they've been playing together for a long time, so that kind of experience can really help. And especially, you've got to be able to stick together. And this is going to be an intense atmosphere. Just looking around the crowd, there is a lot of orange and black for Washington. It's going to be a really tough atmosphere for them to step into, and they're going to have to stick together like they have been really for their entire basketball careers.
Yeah, when you look around this place, St. Ignatius brought a decent fan contention, but when you compare St. Ignatius to Washington, you look around this building, they're situated behind us, Washington fans are. The whole section is filled and then some. They have a big student section that lasts a whole column of seating in the first row, and then you look even on the second level, there are a lot of fans on the second level. So Washington, I mean, their town population's got to be around 17,000. They brought all 17,000 and then some, it looks like. But no, I mean, thinking about Washington, we go to them now. They are just having a great season. They have 35 wins and 1 loss. Their 1 loss came to a really solid Morin team. 35 wins is nothing to be ashamed about. Obviously, they're here and they're great. Really led by juniors. Their starting 5 are all juniors, and really their whole production comes from their junior class. You just mentioned it, Wesley.
Yeah, and they've had such a historic season, but that they feel like, it's not done. And Kim Barth specifically said, our job's not done. They think that a state title, is the expectation. And so this will be a huge game for them. They know that they've got a really tough opponent in St. Ignatius, but a lot of great players up and down their lineup. Even on the bench, they've got Ainsley Redlingshafer coming off of the bench. She was a starter last year, but she had an ankle injury and missed the first 8 games of this season. Has stayed coming off the bench, but she is another great player, and she's just the 6th man for this team.
Yeah, Washington's always had great seasons. It feels like for the past 7 years, they've had at least 21 seasons. But this year it feels a little different. This year it feels like they took in that next step, and now they're competing for what could be a state title when it's all said and done at the end of Saturday. But for now, it looks like we're going to get ready for the national anthem. We're going to toss the break for the national anthem. We'll be right back.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Illinois for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Illinois. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Illinois for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back inside Illinois State University's Redbird Arena for this big-time matchup between Washington and St. Ignatius. Both teams are meeting by half court and exchanging handshakes, all part of the IHSA's pretty much mission to perform or to have sportsmanship. But for now, let's take a fine look at our fine sponsors: Torque, Fitness and Performance Training, and Jake West from State Farm. I want to thank them for sponsoring tonight's action between Washington and St. Ignatius, making this broadcast possible. But now here comes the, not the starting lineups, but the reserves on the team. They're going to announce the reserves first. I believe they're going to start with St. Ignatius, and they will. So let's run them down. Besides the starters for St. Ignatius, here's how they go. Kaylee Clark, sophomore. Dalia Maduro, she's a senior, number 12. Riley Schneider, she's a junior, number 13. Allie Haymaker, senior, number 15. Number 20, Megan Burke, senior. 23, Ava Stern, junior. Maya Gentile, she's a junior, number 25. Number 33, Sadie McGuire, junior. And number 44, it might be the most important reserve on the St. Ignatius team. She was a former starter before she suffered a foot injury. Gabby Hinton, she's a junior, number 44. So you see a lot of teams in this time of year, Wesley, when they play in the state finals, they not only have a solid starting lineup, obviously, they have a solid bench too, and St. Ignatius does have that, and so does Washington.
Yeah, you know, you've got to have depth to make a run like this, and Gabby Hinton, you talked about it, she had the foot injury out until January, and Coach Doyle talked about how she made an immediate impact as soon as she came back. Said to her, we're gelling pretty well like this, so I'm going to bring you off of the bench. Even though she had been a starter, she's accepted her role really well and is still having a huge impact coming off of the bench.
Here come the Washington reserves. We'll tell you how it is with them. Jenna Spezio, junior, number 3 for them. Ainsley Revling-Schaefer, she might be the most important reserve for this Washington team. She is very clutch, especially in the playoffs as of late. She's a junior, number 11, as mentioned. Gabby Meischner, senior, number 12. Maya Johnson, sophomore, number 13. Olivia Osborne, sophomore. She can come up big, too. Really good JV player. Dropped 40 points in a JV game this year, so she can score at the best of them. She has to get used to that varsity playing style. Number 22, Payne Swanson, sophomore. 23, Lainey Dravis, junior. Number 24, Brooklyn Bowman, senior. Daya Iyer, junior. Number 33, and Lainey Martin, a sophomore, number 35. And as mentioned before, Washington, they're not here only because they're a really good starting lineup, but their bench has performed very well for them, too.
Yeah, Michael, and you talked about Ainsley Redling-Schaefer. Coach Barth said that she is the most coachable kid she has ever had. She said if I asked her to run through a wall, she would. And I think that's something that's huge, to have that buy-in from everybody up and down your lineup, that they're going to, do whatever they can to help the team win. And you know that there's not any resentment, among Ainsley Redling-Schaefer coming off of the bench. She knows that, that's what's best for her team, but that she is still a key part of their success.
Starting lineups are being introduced now. We'll get them to you from St. Ignatius first. Sally Kennedy is senior, number 1. Maggie Helms, senior, number 4. Reagan Reardon, the player they'll all watch out for the St. Ignatius Ball Club. She's averaging nearly 22 a game, number 11, senior. Number 14, Isabella Kiberlin, she's a junior. And number 24, Maila Miller, she's a senior for St. Ignatius. The Wolfpack are coached by Kara Doyle. It's her 13th season and her first time in the state finals. Gotta be a great year. It is a great year for St. Ignatius. Now here come the Washington starters. We'll give them to you. It's a lot of what you guys have come to expect from this Panthers team. A lot of juniors, all starting 5 are juniors. Number 2, Avery Tibbs. Rebecca McDougall, number 5. Number 10, Adrian McDonald. Number 21, Mazzie O'Brien. And number 25, Ganny Gade. The Panthers are coached by Kim Barth. It's her 9th season, and it's her first time at the state finals.
And an important note about this game is definitely that it'll likely be a track meet. In their interviews, both coaches talked about how they really like to get out and run in transition, and so the transition game will be really huge. And a lot of these teams throughout the regular season are so much better than most of the teams they're playing, and when you're a better team, you want to get more possession, so you want to get out and run. So we'll see which team is able to have more success in transition. That'll likely be the team who wins.
That was a really common theme amongst all the teams that were in that call. The fact that they know they can play aggressive, and they know they can play fast, get out in the transition, and score buckets. These two teams, nothing different between them with their play styles. As we get things ready to tip off in Normal, Illinois, ISU Redbird Arena. Wow, this Washington student section is going crazy right now. This whole gym behind us is pretty much orange.
Really impressive, the crowd Washington has brought. Only about a 40-minute trip, but, they're taking up almost a quarter of the stadium.
Yeah, usually with these student sections, you don't see a whole, you see a lot if you have a really good fan contention, but this is more than even a lot of people come to expect. This is quite the atmosphere as we get ready to tip things off. It is Danny Gade and Reagan Reardon, and St. Ignatius wins the tip. It will be a Reardon from downtown. She buries the 3 to start off the game.
Wow, what a start from Reardon. She's at 6'1", but is still a great shooter, and Washington is going to have to find an answer for her in this game.
First possession of the game, a left wing 3 falls for Reardon. You got to imagine those are going to be dropping all night long, averaging nearly 22 a game as Washington looks to respond. Here's Avery Tibbs in the right corner. Gives it to Danny Gade, right wing. Gives it down low. It's batted away from Ignatius, or from Ignatius, and they get the ball back on their end of the court. Here's Helms. Maggie Helms gives it down low. Oh, nice cut inside by Reagan Reardon, and she has an early 5. Here comes the Panthers the other way. Adrian McDonald gives it to G'day. G'day going around in circles. Gives it out to Adrian McDonald for 3. No good. Rebound by the Panthers. And McDougal on the inside gives it back out to G'day. G'day left baseline. Puts it up. No good. And Washington 0 for 2 to start the game. Fast start here from St. Ignatius. Maggie Helms from downtown. Oh, she banks it in. And St. Ignatius out to a quick 8-0 lead. And here comes the Panthers the other way. As Mazzy O'Brien not able to get the shot off, and looks like the Panthers will look to reset. Here's Avery Tips, top of the key, driving left. Gives it to G'day, and G'day traveled. Yes, she did.
Looks like she just switched her pivot foot. Looks like Washington is really getting in a hurry here, and you see Kim Barth over there putting her hands out, telling her team to slow down. We know these teams like to play fast, but they can. Washington can afford to slow down a little bit here.
It looks like it's the fact that we know Washington hasn't been here since 1977. We know none of these players have been in this situation, so it's all about calming yourself down. And there's a turnover there from Washington. It's a good sign. As Avery Tibbs brings it down the left side. Gives it to McDonald. Here's G'day in the left wing. Tries to give it down low to McDougal, and nice defense there from St. Ignatius. It's Isabel Kieberlin that got a hand on it and batted it out of bounds. It'll be with the Panthers still.
Yeah, Becca McDougal is giving up a couple of inches to Reagan Reardon, and it looks like Washington is having a hard time getting those entry passes in there.
Ainsley Repling-Schaefer in the ball game. Tibbs left wing 3, no good. Hit the front of the rim, but rebounded by McDougal. And Tibbs once again on the left baseline, drives in, puts it up, no good. And St. Ignatius the other way. Washington 0 for 4 to start the game. Here's Reardon from downtown, that's Sally Kennedy from downtown. The left wing, it's good. And St. Ignatius is out to 11-0 lead with 5:25 left to go in the first quarter. Wow, what a start from St. Ignatius.
Yeah, big start from them. They've come out red hot from beyond the arc. For Washington, they've had a couple of turnovers, getting ahead of themselves a little bit. That last look for Avery Tips, it was a great look, just didn't go down. You've got to believe that those shots are going to start falling for Washington.
We want to thank our fine sponsors. First with Torque today. Today's broadcasts are brought to you by Torque Fitness in East Peoria. To elevate your performance to an all-state level, train with Torque. To schedule an assessment or for more information, call 217-855-0508. And today's coverage is brought to you by State Farm agent Jake Weston in Washington. Call 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. We'd like to mention that Jake is a Washington alum who's a fan of his Panthers and is a supporter of Washington athletics. Here comes the Panthers the other way. Looking to get on the scoreboard first as we're approaching 5 minutes to go here in the first. As Mazzy O'Brien looks to drive in, she'll kick it out. Oh, and a bad pass from Ainsley Relling-Schaefer, and that's a Washington turnover. Not a great start at all in this ball game from the Panthers.
Now, the turnovers are really uncharacteristic for Washington, but I think they'll settle down as the game goes on, but they've really got to lock it in before this deficit gets too big.
The game's not over until it's over, and it's definitely not over when the game starts. Washington's got to get something going on offense, though. Oh, there's a bank shot there from Maggie Helms, and St. Ignatius builds up their lead to 13-0, and we're just under 5 minutes to go as Avery Tibbs on the top of the key.
Maggie Helms was laughing there. I don't think she called bank.
Everything's falling for the Wolfpack so far as Avery Tibbs looks to drive left and turns the ball over. And now here's who wants it as a loose ball, and as Becca McDougal and Reagan Reardon vie forward, and it'll stay with the Panthers. St. Ignatius out to a 13-0 lead. 4:30 left to go here in the first quarter. Still very early in this ball game, but Washington wants to see something go in the basket. They need it. Here's Danny G'day. McDougal, top of the key. She drives in, kicks it out. Ainsley Repling-Schaefer, batted pass.
Still having a hard time getting those entry passes.
Skip past the G'day from McDougal, and here's Avery Tibbs. Gives it back to G'day. Number 25 in white looks for someone. Now on the right wing, gives it to Ainsley Relling-Schaefer. Relling-Schaefer looking and trying to find a cutting Avery Tibbs to the basket and throws it out of bounds. And that's yet another Washington turnover. Not a great start at all from the Panthers.
For the Panthers, it's entry passes, but really just passes in general. St. Ignatius has got a size advantage. They're long and they're in the passing lanes, and that's what's really given Washington fits so far.
We have a timeout called. It's a full timeout from, I believe, Washington, and we will take a break with them here on Clutch Sports Media.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Welcome you back inside ISU, Normal, Illinois, Redbird Arena for this Class 3A state semifinal game between Washington and St. Ignatius. Wesley, the story of the game really has just been, the really early story of the game, I should say, has really been the Washington, I shouldn't say collapse because the game just started, but their miscues on offense and St. Ignatius, I mean, they just can't miss.
Yeah, it's really been, you talked about St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius really can't miss, but also for Washington on the offensive end, it's just been turnovers. Too many bad passes, had the one travel, so you've got to make it a little bit cleaner. The problem with their inability to get the entry passes, they don't have, they're not huge on the inside game, but they like to get the ball inside the Beckham McDougal so they can kick it out to their shooters.
And I literally mean they cannot miss. St. Ignatius 5 for 5 from the field to start the game, and really it's Washington. They just got to get something to get in the basket. They're 0 for 4 to start the ball game. Avery Tibbs 0 for 2, 0 for 1 from the three-point line. They have to get her to make some big shots if they want to have a chance in this ball game now. It's already a 13-0 deficit as Ignatius brings up the ball. It'll be Isabella Gabrielin to start off the offense for the Wolfpack. Gabby Hinton subbed in the ball game for Ignatius. As there's a nice jump shot there from Reagan Reardon, and she gets set to go. It is 15-0 in favor of St. Ignatius, and they just keep scoring buckets. Reardon up to 7. And Washington looking for something on the offensive end. Here's Avery Tibbs from a handoff from McDougal. McDougal now with it on the left wing. Here's Tibbs driving in off a screen, puts up a shot and no good. 0 for 5 to start the ball game for the Panthers. They still are scoreless. And here comes the Wolfpack as Reardon misses her first shot of the ball game. That's Ignatius' first miss of the ball game, and a tie-up is called, and possession arrow favors Washington.
Washington hasn't gotten any shots to go. St. Ignatius only has one miss, and that can be pretty discouraging, but it can also be a sign for optimism if you're Washington, because you know that that's not going to hold up the whole game. You know that the Wolfpack are not going to shoot 100% from the field, or that you're going to shoot 0%.
It's really the idea of Washington getting comfortable. They've never been in this situation before as a program. They've had some big wins in the postseason. They've had some big games in the postseason. It was not an easy run for these Panthers, but all that being said, it doesn't mean that they're exactly battle-tested for this game. You'd like to think that, but for right now, it looks like in the first 5 minutes of this ball game, it's now a little bit less than 3 minutes in this ball game, they look beat right now, as there's a missed three-pointer there from St. Ignatius, but rebound back to the Wolfpack, and Reardon on the right wing, driving in, sizing up Gaudet, gives it to Hinton. Hinton driving in, looking for a scoop layup on the left side, no good. Rebound by the Panthers. This could be the chance for Washington to score. Oh, nice pass to Avery Tibbs. She misses the layup. And St. Ignatius going the other way. It's Gabrielin. Back to Hinton. Maggie Helms on the right wing, driving in, losing control of the ball. Great defense there from Ainsley Relling-Schaefer. And Gabrielin looks to set everything back up for St. Ignatius, who looks to continue building on their 15-point lead to start the ball game. Cutting inside, and back out to Hinton. Her left corner three, is no good. Rebound by Washington. Washington looking to push the pace. There's a Becca McDougal three-pointer from the right corner, no good. And rebound by St. Ignatius. Washington yet to hit a field goal. They're 0 for 7 to start the ball game as Ignatius looks to add to their lead as Maggie Helms mid-range jumper goes air ball. And back out to Reardon. Her right wing three is no good. Rebound by Avery Tibbs. She looks to push. Danny Gaudet. She's telling Mazzy O'Brien to shoot it, but she does not shoot it. And Avery Tibbs looking to get something going for her team on the right elbow. Gives it back out to Danny Gaudet. Oh, Tibbs from nearly the feather of the Redbird. No good, though. 0 for 8 to start the game for Washington. Not a great start by any means if you're a Panthers fan or even just the Panthers players. Oh, nice move there from Maggie Helms. She kind of pushes off Avery Tibbs with the shoulder and gets separation to get the easy two. And we're just approaching 35 seconds left to go here in this one as Tibbs drives in. She misses the layup again. Another missed layup from Tibbs. Ignatius up 17-0. We're approaching 20 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Reardon back out to Helms. Helms looking to score, and she banks it in. That was a nice give and go, and Maggie Helms brings up the Ignatius lead to 19-0. This is more of a shocker than really anyone could think. As Tibbs looks to get the Panthers on the board with 1 second to go. She does not get her three-pointer off in time. It's actually good. The one shot the Washington makes goes after the buzzer. It's been that kind of game so far from the Panthers as they trail St. Ignatius 19-0 after one. We'll step aside for our break, and we'll be right back with second quarter action after this.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the IHSA, are the 333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible, because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
Welcome back inside Illinois State University's Redbird Arena. Washington versus Chicago St. Ignatius. And Wesley, this is a shocker so far. 19-0 in favor of St. Ignatius. Washington 0 for 9 from the field in the first quarter. The one shot they got the fall from Avery Tibbs was a three-pointer that occurred after the buzzer sounded. It was honestly that kind of quarter for Washington, but you got to think with this Panthers team that, you know, they obviously struggled in the first quarter, but that could be because, you know, it's their first time here. Although they had a really adverse wild postseason run, you got to think they might be calmed down now and they're ready to play some basketball.
Yeah, you know this is a tough Washington team and that they're going to do everything that they can do to get back into the ball game. A really tough start, you know, had a few bank shots go down for St. Ignatius and had a couple of shots rim out for Washington, but certainly not an excuse. Too many turnovers for the Panthers. But you know, Kim Barth, the experience she has in her 9th season at Washington, you know, we'll figure out what they've got to do to get back into this ball game.
We'll take a look at the road to the state final for Washington. They play in the Washington sectional. They hosted their own regional. They hosted their own regional. They played in their semifinal game against a really good Metamora squad that they had won. Well, it's not a nail biter by score, but that game was back and forth, and at some points Metamora had the lead. So you're already thinking about, you know, the regional semifinal game being close. You got to think it wasn't an easy postseason run. It wasn't. The game against Morris was a little bit more easier. The regional championship game, they won 58-44. They were in the Ottawa sectional. They won against Galesburg 55-44. the 47, and they had been more in that in the Powder season. 60-50. That was their 4th time playing more in the season. In the Rochelle Super Sectional, they had defeated Sterling. They reached this point, 58-54. So they find themselves here, and they have a steep hill to climb early. They have yet to score a basket in time, and it's 19-0. Look for Washington to get something quick and easy as there's Tibbs on the right side. And she loses the ball, but able to recover. Back out to McDougal. McDougal skip pass back to Redling Schaefer. Redling Schaefer in left wing. There's a 3 ball from Mazzy O'Brien, and she buries it. And there you go, Washington on the board as Mazzy O'Brien hits one from deep.
Yeah, the Panthers needed that big shot there from O'Brien.
The good start to the quarter from Washington. Their first basket of the ball game. There's a near turnover there from St. Ignatius as Sally Kennedy was bobbling the ball a little bit, and Rebecca McDougal trying her best to get in there to get the basketball.
You never
draws the foul.
Never want to pick up a foul, but you know you love the aggressiveness. You see like you get a spark on that 3 ball, and then trying to get after it on the defensive end to get some momentum back in your favor.
Early point of the second quarter. We're just approaching 7 minutes to go. I'm Michael Savoy. Joined alongside me is Wesley Stombaugh. You can catch this live audio stream on clutchsportsil.com. As driving in is Reardon, and Reagan Reardon draws the foul. She's driving in on the right wing, and she'll shoot 2. Foul on the Panthers. I believe that is Danny Gaudet. It looks to have a substitution issue. We have a stoppage of play. Not really sure exactly. It might be I don't know if this is a thing, but maybe an immature substitution. No, they're going to let them go. As Reagan Reardon is shooting 2, her first is good. Reardon is up to 8 points. Maggie Helms has the team lead so far for St. Ignatius. She is up to 9. Reardon looks to tie up the team lead with her second, but it's no good. Rebounded by McDougal. Rebecca McDougal looks to push the other way herself, go coast to coast. She nearly loses the ball, but gives it to Mazzy O'Brien. O'Brien being hounded on defense, gives it back to McDougal. McDougal driving in, no good on the layup attempt. And the Wolfpack go the other way. Here's Reardon, Reagan Reardon. Mid-range pull-up, no good. Rebound by the Panthers. Mazzy O'Brien looking up the court, but she'll look to take her matters into her own hands. Dangerous pass to Danny Gaudet, but Gaudet gets it, drives into the left side, and she gets fouled. And Danny Gaudet looks to make her free throws and put Washington a little bit closer.
The Panthers in the second quarter are doing a much better job of driving the ball to the basket.
Gaudet's first free throw is good. Tonight's sponsors are Torque Fitness in East Peoria. To elevate your performance to an all-state level, train with Torque. To schedule an assessment or for more information, call 217-855-0508 as Danny Gaudet hits 2 of her free throws, and now it's a 20-5 ball game. Here with 6.5 to go in the second quarter, in the first half. We'll have a halftime show and the conclusion of the second quarter. Our Joey Wright will be in the studio with the headset. And now here comes St. Ignatius as there's a foul, or excuse me, a travel called on Reagan Reardon. She looks to be a little bit confused, but it is a turnover on St. Ignatius, and it'll be Washington basketball. Washington looking to, in a way, give payback from what happened to them in the first quarter. They didn't make a single field goal or even a point in the first quarter. Their first points of the game were in the beginnings of the second quarter. Oh, there's a nice pass by Erling Schaefer into Mazzy O'Brien. And O'Brien gets fouled. And I believe that's on the floor. Yes, it is.
Good things happening for the Panthers when they get the ball in the paint. A good entry pass there. They had a hard time with that in the first quarter, but a nice cut and a crisp pass.
There's a stoppage of play. And Rebecca McDougall has a injury. I believe it's a bloody knee. And she'll look to get checked out. Oh, they're going to attend to her very quickly with some athletic tape. And she's not going to sit the bench. They attended to her very quickly, so she's able to come back into the ballgame.
Really nice job by the training staff getting her knee taped up really quickly.
So no harm, no foul. Losing one of your better players, I think not for Washington. She comes right back in. Tibbs looking for a quick corner three off the inbound. Not able to get it, but here comes Danny Gaudet the other way. Rebecca McDougall from the corner, left corner, no good. Three ball, no good, but she gets her own rebound and gets it back to Mazzy O'Brien, and O'Brien's left wing three trickles around the basket and falls. So Washington has now cut the deficit to 12. It is 20 to 8. And here comes Ignatius the other way. Maggie Helms loses the ball. Nice steal there from McDougall. Gives it to Tibbs. Tibbs layup is good. And here comes Washington. They're down by 10. It is 20 to 10.
Great hands by Redling Schaefer. She had her hands in the cookie jar and able to knock the ball loose there.
And Washington fans are on their feet. Now the fans are into it. A lot of fans here from Washington, but St. Ignatius silences the crowd. Isabella Keberlin hits the layup. Nice offensive possession there from St. Ignatius, and here comes Washington. Tibbs. Back out to Redling Schaefer. Redling Schaefer driving in, kicks it out to McDougall. McDougall on the right wing. Redling Schaefer top of the key three. No good, hit the front of the rim. Fighting for the rebound and ultimately won by St. Ignatius. It's Maggie Helps. And the Wolfpack go the other way. 4 and change left to go here in the second quarter. 22 to 10 in favor of St. Ignatius. They've been in control since the game started. Getting into a really big lead when the first quarter started. There's a nice feed inside. No good on the first attempt by Maggie Helms on the layup, but she gets her own rebound and scores for the second attempt. 24 to 10, St. Ignatius leads. Here's Becca McDougall the other way in the left baseline, and she loses control of the ball, and it'll be St. Ignatius ball.
McDougall got herself into trouble there, drove baseline, got double teamed, but didn't really have anywhere to go with it, and ended up throwing the ball out of bounds.
Wolfpack coming the other way. There's a three-point ball right there, but before the shot was off, Maggie Helms traveled with it. She was taking a right corner three, and it was no good, and we'll have a full timeout, or excuse me, a TV timeout, and we'll take a timeout with them here on Clutch Sports Media.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Illinois for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
We are back here at CEFCU Arena here in Illinois State University, and we like to thank Jake Weston. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by State Farm agent Jake Weston in Washington. Call 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. Jake Weston is a Washington alumni, and he is an avid supporter of his Washington Panthers. And his Washington Panthers, while we're on the topic of it, were trailing 19-0 after the first quarter. They didn't even score a bucket in the first quarter, but they have since found their footing, and now they trail 10-24. It's still a steep hill to climb, but it feels like they're finding themselves.
Yeah, a couple of three-point baskets fell for the Panthers there. They're going to need some shots to fall, and you think they're starting to get going here.
Mazzy O'Brien bringing up the basketball for Washington. Passes on top of the key. A 5-out offense here for Washington. Danny Gaudet, a left corner Shot, no good. Mid-ranger, no good. Rebound Tibbs, though, and nice rebound there from the junior as Tibbs looks to create on the left wing. Here's O'Brien. Good day on the top of the key, gives it back to Tibbs. Tibbs off the screen, gives it back to Good Day. Dangerous pass. Gabby Hinton in the passing lane. Here's Becca McDougal. Gives it out, and here's Good Day for three, no good. And a rebound by St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius looking to extend their already really big lead, and there's a good hand in the passing lane by Washington. That was Good Day.
So the offensive rebound for Avery Tibbs. They weren't able to get any second chance points out of it, but that would be something that's big. If the shots aren't falling, can you get, to work on the offensive boards to give yourself second and third chances?
This game's not over, folks. If you were watching when the game started, it might have felt like, as a fan, it could honestly be over, but nothing's over until the final buzzer's here at 0, and Washington is finding their footing, as there's a nice deflected pass there on both sides of the ball, may I add, both on the offensive end and now obviously on the defensive end. Great defense so far. As driving in is Gabby Hinton on the right corner. That shot might have been deflected by Danny Gaudet, and she brings up the ball for Washington. Oh, and there's a turnover there. Gabby Hinton in the cookie jar, and she looks to drive and score, and she gets an and one call as Danny Gaudet commits the foul.
Tough basket there from Aaliyah Miller. Washington, had turnover there, leads to 2, potentially 3 points. That was what really plagued them in the first quarter, and something they're going to have to avoid the rest of this game.
Jenna Spezio in the ball game for Washington. Spezio looking to add some defense. Coach Kim Barth had said that Spezio is an amazing defender, as this free throw there from Gabby Hinton rebounded by Ignatius, but they weren't able to get anything going off that rebound as Washington gets the turnover and goes the other way. Redling Schaefer driving in. Dangerous pass to Tibbs. And Tibbs off the screen. It looks to set things up for the Panthers. 2 minutes left to go here in the second quarter. It is a 26-10 ball game. McDougal skip pass out to Spezio. Spezio losing control of the ball. Gabby Hinton playing great defense, maybe too great a defense as she commits the foul. Gabby Hinton, the junior, we had already mentioned that she was a regular starter for this Ignatius ball club before a foot injury, but she has come to understand her role on the team. She is pretty much the sixth man on this team, and she gives the Wolfpack very valuable minutes. As the Panthers inbound the ball, Mazzy O'Brien, her top of the key three is off the left side of the rim, and Ignatius goes the other way. Here's Keberlin, Isabella Keberlin, drop top of the key, slowing things down for St. Ignatius. They're up by 16, 26-10, with a minute 40 left to go. Nice extra pass there. For three is Isabella Keberlin, that is good. Malaya Miller with a great extra pass from the top of the key, and St. Ignatius 29-10 up on the Panthers with 85 seconds left to go, minute 23. Here's Mazzy O'Brien. Dangerous pass there to McDougal, and it's actually stolen by St. Ignatius, and Ignatius goes the other way. Here's Miller. Keberlin, top of the key. Looking for someone, gives it to Sally Kennedy. Kennedy driving in, kicks it out to Reardon. Reardon, oh, a nice fall-away jumper, no good, hit the front of the rim. Nice rebound there by McDougal, and she allows Mila Miller to commit the foul.
This is a big possession for the Panthers. They could potentially get the last shot of the half. They really need a bucket here to get some momentum.
Good vibes here for the Panthers if they're able to finish this second quarter on a positive. It hasn't been a great first half for the Panthers, especially early on, but they've found a little bit more of their footing as time has gone on, as Jenna Spezio, top of the key, gives it to Redling Schaefer. Redling Schaefer looking, gives it to McDougal. McDougal to O'Brien. O'Brien loses control of the ball for a second, but around the Illinois State emblem, gives it to Tibbs. Tibbs looking for anything, gives it to McDougal. McDougal skip past the Redling Schaefer. Redling Schaefer driving in, looks for contact, not able to get the layup to go. And St. Ignatius thought they had numbers, but they ended up slowing it down. And they might look for the last shot. Sally Kennedy 6 seconds to go. 5, 4. Here's Reardon. She traveled with it. She punt faked, or at least felt like she punt faked, and that both of her feet must have gone up in the air ever so slightly, and there's 2.5 seconds left to go. Washington looking for a final shot that gives it to Tibbs, the right girl to do it. She tries to put up a heave, and it's almost good. Hits the front of the rim, and that's how our second quarter ends. It is St. Ignatius leading wire to wire from the start of the game till now of 29-10. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Torque and Jake Weston State Farm. Torque Fitness in East Peoria to elevate your performance to an all-state level. Train with Torque to schedule an assessment, or for more information, call 217-855-0508. And tonight's coverage, once again, is brought to you by State Farm agent Jake Weston. In Washington, call 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. We're going to be taking a break, and we'll be right back with some halftime analysis after this.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the IHSA, are the 333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand. We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the IHSA, are the 333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible, because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Illinois for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back to CEFCU Arena on the campus of Illinois State University. In Normal, Illinois, Joey Wright and Michael Savoy taking you through halftime as St. Ignatius is up on Washington 29-10 in an IHSA Class 3A state semifinal. Tough first half for the Panthers, but still 16 minutes left to play as we run through some first half stats. Actually, first, we'll take a moment to thank our sponsors today, starting with Jake Weston State Farm, proud sponsor of a lot of the things we do here on ClutchSportsIL.com, proud supporter of Washington Panthers athletics. You see his information on the screen, 309-444-4441, easy phone number to remember, or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. And for Torque Fitness in East Peoria, to elevate your performance to an all-state level, train with Torque. To schedule an assessment or for more information, call 217-855-0508. That's 217-855-0508. 0-8. Running through some statistics from the first half of play. As we mentioned for Washington, a little slow to get things going. 3 of 19 from the field. 2 players have 3 points. Ainsley Redling-Schaefer and Maisie O'Brien. And 2 points for Avery Tibbs. That's the bulk of the Panthers' scoring. Looking at things for St. Ignatius, Maggie Helms leading the way with 11 points. It's 8 points from Reardon, Reagan Reardon that is. 5 points from Isabella Keberline, I apologize, and 3 points from Sally Kennedy. That is the bulk of the St. Ignatius scoring. The Wolfpack are 12 of 22 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. Washington has made 2 threes on 10 attempts. In the first quarter, that was won by St. Ignatius, a 19-0 margin. Tremendous defense from the Wolfpack to hold the Panthers off the board for the first 8 minutes of play. The second quarter ended in a 10-10 tie. And looking at some stats, field goal percentage 55% for St. Ignatius, 16% for the Panthers. Free throws, 33% for St. Ignatius. They've only made 1 of 3. Washington's made both of its 2 free throw attempts. Turnovers, Wolfpack have turned it over 6 times. Panthers have turned it over 8, so pretty even there. Rebounds, that category being won by the Wolfpack as well by a 16-12 margin. 12 of St. Ignatius's 16 rebounds have been on the defensive glass. 8 of Washington's rebounds have been defensive, so both teams have 4 offensive rebounds through 16 minutes of play. Points in the paint, that's where St. Ignatius has really made the difference. 12-2, they lead Washington in that category. Washington's blocked 1 shot, nothing for St. Ignatius in that regard yet. 4 steals for the Wolfpack, 3 for the Panthers, and St. Ignatius has assisted on 9 shots compared to Washington's 2. Washington has yet to lead. St. Ignatius has led for all but 11 seconds of play today. Michael Savoy is with me, Joey Wright in the booth. And Michael, you and Wesley Stumbaugh have done a great job on the call. I've enjoyed listening to the first half. How do you size up what you've seen through 16 minutes here at CEFCU Arena?
Yeah, you mentioned slow start by Washington. Slow start is definitely an understatement. It was a very, very rough start for this Washington team in the first quarter. In the second quarter, like you said, Joey, it was a 19-0 run pretty much the whole first quarter. Washington didn't score a single point until the second quarter, but when Washington started scoring their points, you started seeing a better team. So hopefully Washington brings their production from the second half in the second quarter to the second half. It was a 10-10 tie in the second quarter, like you said, but man, it was very tough sledding for this Washington team, but they've been playing better, so it's a good sign to see if you're Washington, but it's still a very steep hill to climb.
For these types of games, Michael, 20, 26, 27 can't get here fast enough. That's when we'll see a shot clock for the first time in every IHSA game throughout the course of the season. No shot clock works against the Panthers here in the second half, but what they do have in their favor, they played better in the second quarter, and they've still got 16 minutes to make something happen. What does Washington need to do to get back into this game in the second half?
They need to take care of the basketball, and when you look at the turnovers, it's 6-8, and Washington has 2 more turnovers than St. Ignatius. That easily can be in the double digits, well in the double digits. There are a lot of risky passes by Washington, and it kind of got their offense out of rhythm, and you saw Avery Tibbs, kind of flunktured pretty much, and a lot of the Washington Panthers were flunktured on the offensive end, and they struggled to get good looks. Now when they got good looks, they weren't able to make them, but they just haven't really gotten a lot of good looks on offense. So the offensive end needs to be pretty much rebuilt pretty much. I mean, a lot of not careless basketball per se, but a lot of risky basketball that honestly has cost them to this point. So look for Kim Barr's squad to make some of those adjustments.
16 minutes left in these teams' pursuit of a Class 3A state title. The season doesn't end with a loss today. Both these teams will have an opportunity to play tomorrow for third place should they come out on the wrong end of this one. But you want to end in that last game of the season, and there are 16 minutes left as we work through the halftime period at CEFCU Arena. Michael, I'll give you the assist on this stat. You have it written down. Washington since 2017, 242 is their record, so they know their way around a big win. They'll have some work to do in the last 16 minutes of play here at CEFCU Arena this evening. One more word for our sponsors here at halftime. Jake Weston, State Farm. You see his information on your screen all game long. Torque Fitness is our other partner out of East Peoria. They've done great work training a number of players on Washington's team and Peoria Notre Dame's team, who we saw earlier today. They're out of East Peoria. To elevate your performance to an all-state level, train with Torque. To schedule an assessment or for more information, call 217-855-0508. We'll take a break here at CEFCU Arena and hand things back to Michael Savoy and Wesley Stombaugh. I'm Joey Wright. Thanks for being with us at halftime. You're listening to an IHSA Class 3A state semifinal on ClutchSportsIL.com. Stick around.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the IHSA, are the 333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible, because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Illinois for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
We welcome you back inside Redbird Arena on the campus of Illinois State University here in Normal, Illinois. It is all St. Ignatius. They've led wire to wire throughout the first half. It is 29-10. And Wesley, there's an interesting tidbit I caught on St. Ignatius when they were on the video call. Their coaches on the video call, Coach Kara Doyle. They did a service project while they were at the State Farm Holiday Classic. That was their first time at the State Farm Holiday Classic in Bloomington Normal. As many Clutch viewers may know, because we do coverage of that too. The service project was they went to St. Vincent de Paul Center and helped pack food and organize donated items for a food pantry. Wow, it really speaks to St. Ignatius' mission. The coach has said their mission was to be men and women for others, and that's a great deed St. Ignatius did for the Bloomington Normal community. It really got them out of their comfort zone, too, as Coach Doyle had said. They're used to the Chicagoland area, a really big area full of suburbs and the inner city, of course, but they really got them into the central part of the state.
Yeah, it's a team that realizes that it's bigger than basketball, and I think the teams that realize that ironically end up being the teams that have success on the court.
We get started here in the second half. Washington, if you are just viewing or just listening into our broadcast, they didn't score a single point in the first quarter. It was 19-0 after one in favor of St. Ignatius. St. Ignatius kind of missed in the first quarter. They hit for their first 5 shots of the ball game, and we're out to that 19-0 lead. Then the second quarter was more competitive. Washington had tied St. Ignatius in the quarter, 10-10. So a great response from Washington. Not the response that gets back the whole first quarter, but is a response that is positive for the Panthers. And now they trail by 19 heading into the second half. Wesley, what do you expect out of the Washington Panthers as they start the second half?
I mean, Washington is a team of really great basketball players who have all accepted their roles. And Kim Barth in her 9th season, such a great coach. You know that these players are not incorrigible. You know that in that locker room, they're figuring out what they can do to get back into this ball game in the second half.
we get things started. Inbounding the ball is Mackie Helms. Starters are back out for St. Ignatius, and starters are back out for Washington. As we get started with the second half of action, here's Sally Kennedy. And a steal there for Becca McDougall, and she gets fouled by Reagan Reardon. Good start on the defensive end for the Panthers. And Becca McDougall, known as the glue of the team, and does the little things. And does what she needs to do when she's needed, and that's an example of it there. A really good start to the second half for Washington as they get started on the offensive end. Here come the Panthers. Tibbs back out to Donald. Donald looking for Panther, gives it to Danny Gaudet. Gaudet down low. Oh, nice move up and under, and finishes on the left side of the layup. And the Panthers on both sides of the ball.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the IHSA, are the 333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit N.
Single-handedly made this more of a ball game.
Big bucket for McDougall. As the 5 on this team, she's shooting the highest three-point percentage on the team. They need her to get hot.
She's been doing it on both sides of the ball to start the second half. There's Miller driving in, and she will not get the foul called. I thought for a second that whistle was blown for a foul, but it is out of bounds on St. Ignatius. It'll be Panthers basketball. Once again, a good start from the Panthers as Tibbs brings up the ball. There's Donald, right wing. Up to Mazzy O'Brien, gets it to Tibbs on the left wing. O'Brien on the handoff, gives it to Donald. Donald all by herself, looking for a Panther. Here's McDougall from the left corner, and it's no good. That was a 3 ball. And Washington goes without a basket. Sally Kennedy gives it to Miller. Miller driving in, nice cut there from Reardon. She loses control of the ball though. And it's recovered by Ignatius. Keberlin on the right corner, gives it to Maggie Helms. Helms to Reardon, her 3-pointer is too strong. Rebound by Washington. Washington pushing the other way. Here's Tibbs, pardon me. Screen by McDougall. Nice pick and pop by McDougall on the right or left corner. Gets it to Donald on a skip pass. Her shot is an air ball. And it'll go out of bounds untouched, and it'll go to St. Ignatius.
Not the result that the Panthers wanted, but I think they're doing a much better job. Coach Barth talked about how they can get in trouble on the offensive end when they do too much dribbling. They're big on screening and cutting, and they've done a lot less dribbling, I think, in the second half. Made some good passes and found open shooters and layups.
Thank you all for joining us on clubsportsisle.com. I'm Michael Savoy. Joining alongside me is Wesley Stomball. This is the IHSA Girls 3A basketball state semifinals between Washington and St. Ignatius, as there's a foul called on Washington off of a dribble drive by Sally Kennedy. And that foul is called on Mazzy O'Brien.
Mazzy O'Brien thought she played clean defense there, but looked like she just kind of got the ball handler on the hip.
As Ignatius looks to set things up on offense, Keberlin gives it to Gabby Hinton, newly subbed in for the Wolfpack. Here's Reardon going to the left side. Her little floater on the left baseline is no good, but rebound fought for by St. Ignatius. It leads to a 3-pointer by Keberlin, and that's no good. And rebound by Danny Gaudet. And Donald goes the other way. That was O'Brien left wide open, and she buries the 3. She can hit
We are
those
the
threes.
NFHS.
Left
That
wide
stands
open.
for the
She
National
puts the ball very
Federation of
well, and
State
she
High
brings
School
Washington
Associations. But really,
11
what we
points
stand for,
with 4
together
minutes-
with the
4 minutes and change to
IHSA,
go here
are
in
the
this third quarter.
333,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Illinois. And so, we stand.
Sally Kennedy,
We
top
stand
of
for the
key,
runners,
looking for
debate
options
team
for
members, and basketball
St.
players.
Ignatius. Reardon
We
backing
stand
out
for their
low to
coaches,
Maggie Helms.
officials, and adjudicators.
Reardon having
We
trouble
stand
with
for
the
the
ball.
drummers,
Gets it back
football
to the top
players,
of the key.
and
No,
actors.
her three-pointer at the top
We
of the key,
stand
no
for the
good.
golfers,
Rebound, though, by
singers, and
Ignatius.
swimmers.
Maggie
We
Helms.
stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete
23 is
together.
no good. That was a little
To
strong.
learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit
That's
nfhs.org.
another foul on St. Ignatius. Sponsors are Tort.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director.
855-0508. And tonight's coverage is brought to you by State Farm agent Jake Weston in Washington. Call 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com as we have a timeout called on the floor. It's a media timeout, and we'll take a break with them here on Clutch Sports. Or excuse me, we'll not take a break. Pardon me. We'll stay here and we'll talk things over. So, talk about this Washington comeback of sorts. Slowly but surely going back in their favor. Washington has actually outscored St. Ignatius. This is something I just saw. St. Ignatius without a field goal or a point here in the third quarter. Washington has all 8 points, and it's beginning to look like how it was in the first quarter, but the opposite.
Yeah, this building is mostly full of Washington fans, and you can really feel the energy in this building starting to shift. Still an 11-point deficit, still a lot of work to do for Washington, but they have held St. Ignatius scoreless so far in this third quarter. They've hit a couple of big shots, and just going to try to keep that momentum going here out of this timeout.
This Washington team, 242 is their record since 2017. They have 7 straight 21 seasons, obviously excluding the COVID year when they went 14-2. That could have been a 21 season if it was a normal year with a state series. Coach Barth earned her 200th career win at the Super Sectionals, so a great milestone for her. Looking at St. Ignatius, on the other hand, this is their first 31 season in school history, and they're back-to-back sectional championships. They have never won a Super Sectional other than this year. This was their first trip to the state series or state finals.
A lot of firepower on both sides. The number 1 and 2 teams in all of Class 3A meeting in the semifinals.
Indeed. Both teams had experienced different paths. Obviously, St. Ignatius based out of Chicago. They're one of the many Catholic schools in the city. They play a very Catholic-heavy schedule with a lot of great teams in that part of the state. Washington plays a very tough Central Illinois schedule. Central Illinois basketball, especially on the girls' side, but in general is very underrated when you think about how the state goes. But here we go. Out of the timeout for Washington with the ball. Tibbs, top of the key. We have 3:18 left to go here in the third quarter with McDougal on the right wing. She'll drive in, looks to penetrate and kick out, does so, and nice shot there. That was Danny Gaudet. A nice pass there by McDougal to free up Gaudet, and Gaudet drives baseline for that mid-range jumper. And here's Isabel Kimberlin the other way for Ignatius. Hinton, oh, that was a dangerous pass, nearly stolen by Washington, but Ignatius gets the ball back. It'll be Kimberlin to Helms, top of the key. And ultimately back up to Sally Kennedy, being guarded by O'Brien. Top of the key to Reardon, and Reardon goes to the left baseline, gets her shot blocked, but Kennedy gets the ball back for the Panthers. Left wide open, though, is Maggie Helms, and her three-pointer from the left wing is too strong. Here comes Washington the other way. Here's Mazzy O'Brien. Driving right corner, and no good. Right baseline, no good. But she gets her own rebound, tries to give it to McDougal cutting in, but a dangerous pass that was picked off by Ignatius. Sally Kennedy the other way. Caberlin. Isabel Caberlin left wing. Gives it to Reardon. Reardon will take the jumper herself on the free throw line. No good.
Still a lid on the basket for the Wolfpack.
It's pretty much the opposite of what happened in the first quarter as a Avery Tibbs coast-to-coast layup on the fast break is no good, but a tie-up ensues. And that was Danny Gaudet and Reardon. And the held ball possession arrow goes to Washington. 1:42 left to go here in the third quarter. Ignatius had a 19-0 lead in the end of the first quarter, but that lead has slowly dissipated 29-20 as in Redling Schaefer three-pointer from the top of the key is no good. Tibbs gets the rebound, or gets the pass from a rebound. Her right wing three is no good. And we have a stoppage of play. I did not catch that.
Had a foul called on the rebound on St. Ignatius, so Washington is going to retain possession.
So a rebound and foul on Ignatius. And Washington, like you said, does retain possession and looks to take advantage of a mistake. Look for Tibbs in the corner. Redling Schaefer gives it to Tibbs, but is guarded. But no, they left her wide open under a screen. And her three-pointer is no good from the right wing. McDougal tried to save the ball, but it rolls off her hand the wrong way and goes past half court, it'll be over the back.
And you can feel this crowd holding their breath on every one of those threes. Would have made it a 6-point game. Couldn't get any of them to fall.
Isabella Caberlin brings the ball for St. Ignatius. They're still up by 9. They've left wire to wire so far, but the lead that they've had is slowly dissipated thanks to some key Washington runs and baskets. Sally Kennedy driving left. Gives it to Reardon. Reardon's fall-away jumper from the left elbow is good. And Reagan Reardon adding to her great night. She is up to 10. Bad pass there from Mazio O'Brien, but Panthers able to retain possession. Here's Gaudet. Another risky pass that was tipped by Ignatius, but ultimately goes out of bounds on the Wolfpack, and Washington retain possession. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Torque and Jake Weston. We appreciate them always helping us out with these broadcasts. Not possible without Jake Weston and Torque. Oh, nice pass inside by Redling Schaefer to McDougal, and she looks to fight for a basket, but does not get that basket. And Ignatius will go the other way with Sally Kennedy, top of the key, on the Redbird feather. Gives it out to Miller. Miller to Helms on the right corner. We're 7 seconds left to go here in the second. 5, 4, 3. Helms for the three on the top of the key. Hits all the backboard, but rebound for Isabel Caberlin. She beats the buzzer. And St. Ignatius, after not scoring a basket for the first 2 minutes and change to go here in the third quarter, got on a 4-0 run, a small 4-0 run to end the third quarter. And it is 33-20 in favor of the Wolfpack. As we take a quick second to read our sponsors, thank our sponsors, Torque and Jake Weston. Torque Fitness in East Peoria is one of our sponsors to elevate your performance to an all-state level. Train with Torque to schedule an assessment, or for more information, call 217-855-0508. And also Jake Weston. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by State Farm agent Jake Weston in Washington. Call 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. It's also very important to note that Jake is a Washington alumni and a proud supporter of Washington athletics and the school itself. Let's set the scene, Wesley. St. Ignatius led 19-0 after the first quarter. It took Washington until the second quarter, early in the second quarter, to score a basket. But when they scored their basket, it felt like momentum was slowly shifting, and that momentum was slowly shifting into more Washington baskets and a more slimmer lead for St. Ignatius. And ultimately, it kind of came into the third quarter. Washington did win that third quarter scoring-wise 10-4. Important to note. And you're seeing Mazio O'Brien come up big for the Panthers with 6 points. So is Danny Gaudet with also her 6 points. Avery Tibbs only has 2 points off of 1 for 9 shooting. So you got to think, if Washington wants to come back in this game, they need their junior point guard to step up.
I think a really positive sign for Washington in that third quarter was their defensive effort. Only gave up 4 points, and all 4 of those were in the last couple minutes or so of the quarter. Really, the rebounding plagued them because they were able to get stops, but the Wolfpack had too many second chances. But I think something that Washington has figured out defensively is they've really adjusted to the way this game is being officiated, because the officials are letting a lot of physicality go, and I think we've seen Washington get a lot more physical with Reagan Reardon in the post, and they have really slowed down her production in that third quarter. She only had 2 points in the third.
Yeah, slow third quarter for Reardon. But St. Ignatius had built such a big lead in the first quarter, in the first half, that they can afford at least somewhat of a slow quarter and have still a big lead. They're still leading by 13 over Washington as we get things ready to go here in the fourth quarter, the final quarter action. 8 minutes to decide who goes on to the 3A state championship game and who plays in the third place game. This place has very much packed. Look behind us once again. We mentioned it before. Washington, I had mentioned this, their town is probably around 17,000 people. It feels like all 17,000 had made the trip to Normal. It's only about a 40-minute drive east on I-74. And there's a lot of Washington fans here. The St. Ignatius student section has fouled out as the game has gone on. They're based in Chicago, so we'll honestly cut them some slack. It's a very long drive for them to the central part of the state. As we get ready for the final quarter action, Reardon bringing up the ball. We'll give it to Miller. Miller driving in. Tries to kick it out, but is intercepted by Avery Tibbs. Tibbs going the other way. Mazzy O'Brien driving in. Her layup is no good, but she gets fouled.
That's something that Washington wants to do. They want to get out and run. And a good job there by O'Brien. Able to draw the contact.
Mazzy O'Brien shooting 2 for Washington. These are going to be really big free throws, as they are in these big games all the time. But when you're down by, at the time, 13, now she makes her first, now down by 12, 21-33 earlier in the fourth. These free throws become a lot more meaningful. She goes 2 for 2 at the line. That's big for Washington to get those easy shots to fall when you're giving them.
Huge to be able to score with the clock stopped.
Good point. Keberlin the other way for St. Ignatius. Washington fans have gone more into it. Helms. Oh, nice cut by Keberlin, but she ends up not making the layup, and going the other way is the Panthers.
Kara Doyle thought there was contact on that layup. She may have a case.
Deflected pass, but ends up getting to a good day. But left wide open in the three, top of the key is Becca McDougal, and she buries the 3. And now, after a 19-0 lead in the first quarter, and a sizable lead at that for the majority of the game, Washington has cut it down to single digits. It's 25-33 here with 7 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. And a foul there called on McDougal.
There's really no need for McDougal to commit that foul. She's reaching in, trying to get a steal. She's the biggest player in this Washington lineup out near the perimeter on that guard. She just needs to step up in front of the ball handler. No need to reach in.
Right in front of us is Maggie Helms. He looks to pass it in to Reardon. Oh, nice pass there to Keberlin. Keberlin looks for contact with the layup to go, or not to go, and Washington will go the other way, looking to capitalize on a defensive stop. Oh, and a bad pass, a miscue there. Tibbs was cut into the basket. Well, Rebecca McDougal looked for her on the three-point line, and it's a turnover back to the Wolfpack. Here's Ignatius the other way. Keberlin, top of the key. Gives it to Reardon. Reardon, back to Helms. Helms to Keberlin. Top of the key is Sally Kennedy. Really just beyond the arc offense here. First thing, Ignatius not able to get anything inside the three-point line. There's a nice cut there as I say that. And there's a foul called on Washington. Mistaken a spill that was Mila Miller. She'll shoot 2.
O'Brien called for the foul there, but I really like the way she's getting after it on the defensive end, trying to deny Hinton the basketball.
That was Isabella Keberlin, pardon me, that is shooting 2 at the line after causing the foul as her first free throw is good. Tonight's sponsors are Torque Fitness in East Peoria. Elevate your performance to an all-state level. Train with Torque. To schedule an assessment or for more information, call 217-855-0508 for more information. I want to thank Torque for their support of our broadcast as we got Kimberlyn making her second free throw. 2 for 2 at the line. Washington goes the other way. Here's McDougal in the left corner. She drives in. Looking for G'day. G'day has it in the left corner. Redling Schaefer on the left elbow. G'day. Back out to McDougal. Her right wing three is buried. Becca McDougal. It's a 7-point ball game. It's a football score. 35-28.
You talk as much as you want about strategy. At some point, the Panthers are going to have to start making some of these threes, and they have made them, and that's what's gotten them back into the ball game here.
So many weapons on this Panthers team, and they're being at their full disposal. Avery Tibbs only has 2 points. She's usually been the one that's been scoring the baskets for them. It goes to show how strong this Washington team is with so many weapons, and there's a foul called on the Panthers. It's a foul called on Becca McDougal. It's her third foul. Something to moderate. Not in deep foul trouble, but definitely one of the more important players on this Panthers team. Has 3 fouls with 5:24 left to go here in regulation.
The officials took a second to converse about where the inbound spot should be. They determined it would be a baseline inbound.
It will be Maggie Helms for St. Ignatius inbound. Oh, being quadruple teamed was Reardon, and she still gets the ball and is able to draw the foul. She'll go to the line and shoot 2.
Nice inbound play by the Wolfpack to find Reardon down low.
She'll shoot 2. Reardon has 10. She can have the team lead in points if she goes 2 for 2 at the line, and I just gave an announcer's jinx. I apologize. She misses her first. Goes a little bit to the right. These free throws are big, not only for Washington, obviously, them being down by 7, but for St. Ignatius to extend their lead as there goes Reardon with their second free throw. 5:20 left to go here in regulation. Washington down by 8. So here comes Redling Schaefer back to McDougal. Around the world to Mazio O'Brien. O'Brien driving in, kicks it out to G'day. G'day, the Redling Schaefer, top of the key. Redling Schaefer driving into her right, looks for a layup, and she gets it to fall. Nice drive there by Redling Schaefer, the junior.
Tough basket by Redling Schaefer. She's giving up 7 inches to Reardon, but takes it right at her and gets the layup.
Now Washington fans are getting into it. It's a 6-point ball game. This lead has slowly trickled for St. Ignatius. There's Helms. Gives it to Reardon. Reardon driving in. Gets the basket to fall, but before she gets the basket to fall, she gets called for the travel. It's a big stop on the defensive end for Washington. After being down 19-0 after the first, they can put it into a 1-score game. Have the opportunity to at least. Here's Tibbs on the Redbird logo. Gives the Mazio O'Brien, a risky pass. Not a great pass to McDougal, but she's able to recover. Gives a skip pass out to Redling Schaefer. Redling Schaefer driving in, gets her shot blocked by Reardon. And here comes the Wolfpack the other way. Sally Kennedy will make the layup with their left hand.
That was a good recovery for Reardon. She got beat on the eyebrow fake, but then came back and got the block.
McDougal going to the basket on the left baseline, and she gets fouled going to the basket. That's kind of what her game is. She's able to use her body to her advantage and able to draw fouls and go to the line. We want to thank Jake Weston. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by Safe Harbor agent Jake Weston in Washington. Call 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. We are sure Jake Weston is avidly watching this ball game, hoping for his Panthers to pull off an incredible comeback and pave their way to the state championship game on Saturday. 1 for 2 at the line is McDougal. She made her first and not able to get her second to fall. And Ignatius up by 7. Will look to try to extend their lead with under 4 minutes to go. It's 3:49 or 3:48 to go here in regulation. Here's Reardon, top of the key 3 after a crossover. A little short, air ball, but the Wolfpack able to get the rebound. It's Isabel Kimberlin. It's a nice jump shot there by Reardon. She gets revenge after that bad miss in the first one. Gets one to fall. They're up to 40. Good defense there by Sally Kennedy. She gets the steal and gets the Washington foul.
Panthers are just compounding mistakes. They give up the bucket on this end, then a bad turnover. Then immediately after the turnover, they give a bad foul. They need to keep their composure here in the late stages.
There's a timeout called. There'll be a full timeout. And we'll take a second to thank Torque Fitness in East Peoria to elevate your performance to an all-state level. Train with Torque. To schedule an assessment or for more information, call 217-855-0508. Torque is one of the better sponsors for Clutch Sports Media. We want to thank all of our sponsors all season long for their contributions to our broadcast. None of this is possible, really, without your guys' support. So we want to give our thanks to you guys. As far as the game goes, it was a very lopsided game to begin with, but Washington has begun to crawl back ever so slightly, and it's only a 9-point ball game. Wesley, this game's not out of reach.
No, and they started to make threes, and we've seen that when they knock down threes, they can make a run in a hurry. You do the math, that's three balls to tie the game. But they've done a great job on the defensive end so far. They've got to rebound defensively and then just get down there and knock down some shots. While the three-point shots have been falling, I also like the way they've gotten to the rim, and if they're able to score with the clock stopped and then potentially set up a full-court pressure, that could definitely play to their advantage.
Ainsley Ruffling-Schaefer, especially, the junior, has found her way to get into the basket quite a bit. She has been one of the better forces on offense when she's in the ballgame. She's one of the, if not the best player off the bench for this Panthers team. She's given her Panthers ball club valuable minutes off the bench, and she is one of the better reasons why they're still in this ball game. But as we look at the point scores to this point, we're 3:27 left to go in regulation. Maggie Helms has 11. Reagan Reardon has 13 for St. Ignatius. They're the point scorers. Kieberlin has 9 for St. Ignatius.
The Quincy Notre Dame student section is here for that 4A game. And the Washington mascot took the Washington flag over to the QND student section, and the QND student section was waving it around. Got a nice applause from the Washington student section. Some Central Illinois team showing each other some love.
That's an alliance. Yeah, I love that. Speaking of Quincy Notre Dame, they're in the other 3A game between them and Montini Catholic. That is going on after the conclusion of this ball game. Winner of this ball game gets the winner of that ball game. Loser is likewise. A missed free throw there from Sally Kennedy. 3:27 to go. A 9-point ball game. Washington has clawed their way back ever so slightly, and Sally Kennedy with 2 missed free throws. And it's still a 9-point ball game, but Tibbs ran up the ball for the Panthers. Just over 3 minutes left to go here in regulation. Redling Schaefer gives it back to Tibbs on the left wing. Tibbs gives it to G'day. G'day left open for a moment on the left wing. Gives it to Redling Schaefer. Redling Schaefer has been driving to the basket lately, but hands it off to Tibbs. Tibbs double teamed. Redling Schaefer wide open. Kicks, penetrates. The 3 ball right there for Mazzy O'Brien is no good on the left wing. And Washington with an empty offensive possession. You cannot have that at this point in the ball game. They're still trailed by 9. 2:43 left to go here in regulation. Sally Kennedy left open. Penetrates, kicks. Oh, left wide open again under the basket, but she'll be content to back it out. She's going around the world, and she finds a way to the basket, and she scores.
That was an interesting possession. Got the ball under the basket, walked to the corner around the three-point arc, and then drove to the basket, but it worked. She gets the bucket.
Kennedy is a very small point guard, able to slither her way past defenders, and she found an opening there as Tibbs draws the foul. The foul on St. Ignatius. We foul on Isabel Cabrera. It's only her first foul. There's not really been much foul trouble here for either team. The only one that can really speak up for Washington is Rebecca McDougall. She only has 3. We're approaching a little bit over 2 minutes left to go. The 2-minute warning. And there's a warning there. If Washington keeps allowing that to happen, that's a travel on Avery Tibbs. It's not going to be smooth for them. You got to be able to take care of the basketball. Washington understanding that the game's coming down to this. They're putting on more of like a full court man-to-man press. But Ignatius clears out with ease, and Reardon driving in, looking to score. Up against Gade, and she misses her first, gets her rebound and puts it back up and in.
Rebounding, hurting the Panthers again. Got the stop, but couldn't get the rebound.
Redling Schaefer back to McDougal on the left baseline. She drives left baseline, tries to put up a reverse layup, but it was blocked by Gabby Hinton. And here comes Ignatius the other way. Here's Hinton. Penetrates and kicks out to Helms. He gives it back to Keverlin. Helms on the left wing.
Panthers are going to have to get into some traps here as there's only 1:24 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Oh, nice cut inside by Hinton. Not able to receive the pass, but able to get back her drop pass. And Ignatius with the possession again. And I think they're looking more like just to hold the ball and allow the Panthers to foul. And they will foul as McDougal picks up her fourth. Looking at this for Washington, this game's not over, but if it ends up being the way it is for Washington, St. Ignatius has led all the way through a lot of the production, if not all the production, for this Panthers team as Gabby Hinton hits her first free throw. All the production for this Panthers team are juniors, so they will be really good next year, if not become a state final contention team next year as well, as Gabby Hinton hits both of her free throws to bring the Ignatius lead up to 15 with just over a minute to go, 1:05 to go here in regulation. Redling Schaefer, left wing. Gives it to Mazzy O'Brien. Good day. Left baseline, puts up a shot. It trickles in. Danny Gade. One of the juniors that is one of the more productive players on the team. And Panthers will have to foul. And they will foul, and they'll send Ignatius up to the line. But before that, we'll have a timeout being called. It's just a 30-second timeout. And once again, we'll thank our sponsors, Torque in East Peoria. To elevate your performance to an all-state level, train with Torque to schedule an assessment, or for more information, call 217-855-0508. That's Torque. And Jake Weston State Farm. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by State Farm agent Jake Weston in Washington. Call 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. Those are sponsors for tonight's ball game between Washington and St. Ignatius. We want to appreciate you guys for tuning in and keeping with us on CoachSportsIL.com. This game has ended up being a really good game. You wouldn't think so after you watched the first quarter, after the point deficit that Washington had to go through, but they have come back and made this more of a ball game. But it's a very steep hill to climb still. 44-33 with 46 on the dot remaining here in regulation. McDougal batted the ball off the inbound, not able to get the steal though, as Ignatius will look to inbound the ball again.
Good job by Washington on the press. They do have 4 timeouts to be able to stop the clock after a made basket.
Reardon right by us on the left corner, and that's not a place to be if you're Ignatius. You're asking for a trap there, but luckily they get lucky and get a foul called against them, and Reardon will go to line for 2. 33-46, 42.3 remaining here in regulation of this Class 3A girls basketball state semifinal between Washington and St. Ignatius College Prep. The Wolfpack look on their way to a state final berth. It'll be their first state final berth in school history. This is their first trip to the state final tournament in school history. They won their first super sectional in school history this year, as there's a 3-point ball there by Ainsley and Redling Schaefer on the left wing that was a little too strong. It goes out of bounds over the backboard, and possession will go to St. Ignatius. 29.9 remaining here in regulation, as Ignatius will get the inbound and go. Here's Sally Kennedy, and she gets fouled by Ainsley Redling Schaefer. She goes tumbling nearby the cheerleaders, does Kennedy, and Kennedy will go and shoot 2. The St. Ignatius Wolfpack team, like we had mentioned before, their first 30-win season in school history. They're back-to-back sectional championships as of the last couple years. They won their first super sectional in program history this past year with with the defeat of Marion Catholic, 51-31. And they have earned their trip to the state finals. They look on their way to earning a trip to the game, the state final game, as there's a three-pointer there by Mazzy O'Brien. That's no good. And Washington might just be content to have St. Ignatius run out the last 10 seconds of this ball game, as Isabel Kimberlin brings the ball towards half court by the Illinois State emblem by the Redbird. And that'll do it. St. Ignatius led wire to wire and never falter. Their school is going to the state championship game for the first time in school history.
Really an impressive performance from St. Ignatius. They got off to a really hot start, led by 19 early and never looked back.
What a game it has been for St. Ignatius. What a season it has been for the Wolfpack. A dream season lives on for St. Ignatius. First 31 season, first super sectional, first state final appearance, first state final win. And they're playing for their first ever state championship game in school history on Saturday. They're going to be playing the winner of Montini Catholic out of Lombard, Illinois. It's the suburb of Chicago, a team that they're actually pretty familiar with, both being Catholic League teams, and Quincy Notre Dame. What a season has been for St. Ignatius. A season full of triumph and a season full of success. Their biggest success is just what happened on Thursday night, and their biggest success is yet to come on Saturday. And as for Washington, looking at this team, they're going to be a really good team next year. Obviously, you got a third-place game to play. You don't want to, run off the season just yet, but obviously, their goal, every team's goal in the state finals is to win the state championship game. You're here for a reason. You're 1 or 2 games away from doing so, but nothing to hang your heads on about. This Washington team has been something special all year long.
Yeah, it was such a special season for Washington. Only one loss in the regular season. They played in the first ever girls game in the Kevin Brown Memorial Tournament of Champions. I know that was a big thing for Coach Kim Barth. And, you look at that, all 5 of their starters tonight are juniors. So they will be back next year, and I think they fully expect to be back here at CEFCU Arena next year.
They have some talented juniors, as you said, Wesley, and all 5 starters, Avery Tibbs, Beckham McDougal, Adrian McDonald, Mazzy O'Brien, Daniel Gade, they're all juniors. You also talk about Ainsley Redlingshafer, a junior. And you also talk about some sophomores, some underclassmen for this Panthers team that are going to be are still very talented right now. Olivia Osborne had dropped 40 points in a JV game, so they're going to have some reinforcements coming into the varsity level. Washington will be in great hands. Even though they lose this game, they'll be in great hands. They'll have a third-place game to play. They'll play the loser of Montini Catholic and Quincy Notre Dame. Wesley, final thoughts before we head off?
Just a really impressive season from Washington overall. They look like they should be here in the second, third, and fourth quarters. They just couldn't overcome that deficit that they put themselves in the first quarter. But they looked really impressive throughout this season. And we talked about their youth. That they feel like they will be back. They wanted, as Kim Barth said, that a kind of slogan for them this year was to cut the net. Unable to cut the nets here at CEFCU Arena this season, but I think that's a group that they think has a great chance to do it next season.
Before we sign off for Thursday's coverage of IHSA girls basketball state final action, we'll give a quick last second word to our sponsors for the final time. Torque Fitness in East Peoria, to elevate your performance to an all-state level. Train with Torque. To schedule an appointment or for more information, call 217-855-0508. We want to thank Torque for their sponsorship of our broadcasts all season long. And Jake Weston, tonight's coverage was brought to you by State Farm agent Jake Weston in Washington. Call 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. We want to thank Jake Weston as well for sponsoring our coverage of basketball and really just all sports all season long for anything Washington based. We want to thank him as well. Well, that'll do it from CEFCU Arena. St. Ignatius led wire to wire over Washington and never faltered an impressive lead. And they are heading to the state championship game on Saturday. And Washington's season does not come to an end, but their state title hopes do come to an end. They will play in the third place game tomorrow. For Wesley Stomball, I am Michael Savoy. Thank you guys for joining us on CoachSportsIsle.com, and see you guys next time.